today I'm going to explain for you three acts drama, Macbeth. Okay, the first Bernamood, the second Macduff, then the last, the end. But before I explain these chapters, let me ask you some questions. The first one, where are they? Let me see them. Who said this to whom? I will give you 1 minute to think about the answer, then tell me the question, the answer. Where are they? Let me see them. So of course it was said by Macbeth to the spirits when he wanted to know what would happen to him in the future. Then another question, what did the third spirit look like and what did it tell Macbeth? It was a child crowned with a tree in his hand, and it told Macbeth that, who can tell me, that that he should never be beaten until Bernamood began to towards him to Dunsinane Hill. And now let's start our new chapters, which is Bernamood. The first, you have to know some main points. The first one, that here, yes, Bernamood. The first part, that Lady Macbeth was unable to bear her own guilt and the public hate, so she ended her life by her own hand. Everyone hated her and no one honored or respected her, so she decided to end her life by her own hand and killed herself. Then, here, Macbeth became careless of life and wished for death. But when he heard that Malcolm's army was approaching to the castle, he brought back his old courage and determined to die with a rumor on his back. Also, he remembered the witch's prophecy, which filled him with false confidence. Of course, all of you know the witches, the prophecies of the witches, that none of woman born could hurt him, and also he should never be beaten until the Bernamood came towards him. So he remembered all the prophecies, and all prophecies filled him with false confidence. And when he heard that Malcolm's army was approaching to give Malcolm the royal kingship, so he brought back his old courage and determined to die with a rumor on his back. Also, here, the next day, a messenger came to him. He was pale and shaking. He told him that while he was standing upon his watch on the hill, he saw the wood of Birnam begin to move towards them. But can anyone fix the wood and make it move? Then, when Macbeth heard this message, he told the messenger that he is a liar and a slave. Also, he warned him that and told him, if you speak falsely, you will be hanged alive upon the next tree until hunger ends you. Of course, he began to grow weak as he remembered the witch's prophecy that he should never be beaten until the Bernamood would come against him to Dunsinane Hill, and now the wood did move. Then he marched hopelessly out to his enemies who had come up to the castle, and you know that his enemies was the army that was formed by Malcolm and Macduff. Here, let's answer the questions of the booklets. The first one, Lady Macbeth had a tragic end. So the answer, she couldn't stand the public hate and her feeling of guilt. She ended her life by her own hand. Number 2, what did the messenger tell Macbeth when he was in his castle waiting for the approach of the Malcolm? He told him while he was watching on the hill, he saw the Bernamood begin to move towards them. Then we have here, if you speak falsely, you will hang alive upon the next tree until hunger ends you. It was said by Macbeth to the messenger when he told him that he saw Bernamood begin to move towards Dunsinane Hill. And this is the first act. Then let's move to the Macduff. Okay, Then the strange appearance that the messenger saw while he was watching on the hill was easily explained that Malcolm was a skillful general, and general here means an army officer. He ordered his soldiers to cut down the branches and carried before them to hide the true number of his army. Again, Malcolm was a skillful general. He ordered his soldiers to cut down the branches and carried before them to hide the true number of his army. And that gave the messenger the appearance that Burnham Wood began to move towards them to Dunsinane Hill. Then, so the witch's prophecy came true, but in different way. Macbeth had understood and his confidence was gone. A severe fight took place in which Macbeth fought with extreme anger and courage. Then he came to Macduff and remembered that the witches had warned him from Macduff. Then they had a fierce fight, Macduff giving Macbeth many bitter words, and bitter here means bad words, for the murder of his wife and the children. He called Macbeth an evil murderer. Then Macbeth remembered the spirit's word that none of woman born should hurt him. He said to Macduff, "You waste your labor." Labor means effort. Macduff, as easily you may hurt the air with your sword as hurt me. I bear a charmed life which must not be taken by one of woman born. Then we have here some questions. The first one, the strange appearance which had given the messenger an idea of a wood moving is easily explained. How is that? Malcolm, the answer, Malcolm was a skillful general. He ordered his soldiers to cut down the branches and hold them before them to hide the true number of his army. Then you waste your labor, Macduff. Comment. It was said by Macbeth to Macduff when they were fighting. Macbeth remembered the witch's prophecy that none of woman born could hurt him. Then the end, and you have to read the chapter because it's a conversation between Macbeth and Macduff. But I will tell you the main points of this chapter, of this act, sorry. Then here, Macduff and Macbeth that had never born. Macduff told Macbeth that he never born of woman. He wasn't born as the ordinary manner of man to be born. He was born before the time, and he was taken from his mother. Then Macbeth cursed the lies of the witches and spirits whom deceive peoples in words which have double senses. Macbeth and Macduff came face to face. Macduff promised to beat Macbeth. On the other hand, Macbeth's courage returned with despair and challenged Macduff, saying he will not kiss the ground before young Malcolm's feet. He told him, although the Burnham Wood has come to Dunsinane, yet he will try the last. And also, as I told you, that Lady Macbeth had a tragic end or pathetic end. Also, Macbeth has a tragic end. He threw himself upon Macduff, who killed him at the end, and cut off his head and made it a present to the young king. Then Malcolm was crowned upon the throne of Dunsinane among the greeting of the nobles and lords. Let's hear, and you have to know that Macbeth's over-ambitious nature leads him to his downfall or failure. Here, number one, let me lying spirits whom have served you, yes, who said it to whom. As I told you, you have to read this chapter before this act, before answering these questions. The first one, it was said by Macduff to Macbeth when he told him that he had a charmed life, and the witches told him that none of woman born could hurt him. The second one, it was said by Macbeth to Macduff when Macduff told him that he wasn't born from a woman, he was born from before the time and was taken from his mother. Number 3, read it. It was said by Macduff to Macbeth while they were fighting. Macduff told him that he would make a show of him. And the fourth one, it was said by Macbeth to Macduff when he wanted to make a show of him. Then here, how was Macbeth killed and who killed him? Macduff killed Macbeth. Macbeth threw himself upon the sword, his sword. Macduff cut off his head and gave it as a present to the young king. And the last question, Macbeth is a perfect example of tragic hero. Explain that according to your answer.